started. Hope everybody had a fantastic new year, a safe and happy one. Gig, you just got to hit play on that, and we'll get started. Hold on. Alrighty then, and away we go. So again, Happy New Year, everybody. As we get started today, we know that we've got some issues to say the least. A lot of the things that are going on and the things that we're experiencing are really surrounding billing, obviously. No big surprise to everybody that has been working with Florida Blue. You can't possibly enroll 1 million members because they're right around 1 million people that have enrolled and not have some issues. Now, when I'm talking about issues, none of the issues that we're dealing with are going to go unresolved. It just doesn't feel all warm and fuzzy. And I'm sure everybody has got 1,001 different issues, and we're going to talk about some buckets of issues that they fall into today. We're going to talk about some resolution, what Blue Cross is doing to resolve these issues, and then we're going to have the head of the billing department, Mr. Hamilton, as well as several of leadership in our offices today to discuss resolution and discuss how we're going to fix these things. Because identifying them is one thing, and there's some funny commercial out there now, I guess, a security guard, oh yeah, we're being robbed, but he can't do anything about it. That's kind of how I feel right now. It's great. We've been telling them that we're seeing some of these issues that are going on and some of the activity that's happening with our membership, yet the resolution is not there, and that's what we're looking for today, to be able to give you guys some pure guidance on how to resolve things, how to get things working. Really, the tone that you have to take it right now, unfortunately, is you have to wait. It's not going to get fixed in the immediate day or next day. They have been working through it. We're going to talk about this and make sure that everybody's on the same page. But as we're looking at what's going on and we're looking at resolution, we really need to prioritize. We need to prioritize people that have access to care issues, people who have been drafted incorrectly if they were set up on APO. And unfortunately, we have to do that in an order of which makes sense, because the most sick people, the people who have the most problems, the people who have been put upside down due to billing situations, those are the people that have to get our attention. Because if we get stuck in a black hole, as I told my agents yesterday on our team, you know, you can't get stuck in this black hole of the one person that's calling and you spending 3, 4, 5 hours trying to resolve this member's situation, and then you're not writing any new business. Because quite frankly, we had a very good season. We need to continue to have an even better season, and we will run out of time. If you know that your team is spending 2, 3, or 4 hours calling agent services trying to get resolution, you've got to tell them to just sit tight and wait for a lot of these things to work out. You know, what we're doing internally is we're tiering the system, having one person call agent services because the wait times are so long. Each problem that we have is taking, upwards of 40 to 50 minutes to identify the problem. So some people have said to us, well, what's going on with agent services? Why is it so long to get through? Well, you got to think about it. There's hundreds and hundreds of agents that are calling. Each call to find out and to identify the problem is taking an hour. So therefore, the wait times are absolutely ridiculous, unacceptable to say the least. And then when you get through to someone on the phone, they're not always giving you the right information. They may be giving you a pat answer. So that's why we're having our call today, to kind of discuss the lay of the land and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So let's first talk about really 4 different areas that have kind of occurred. I think Mr. Falco may have communicated this out to everyone already, but I'd like to review it. First thing is that we had about 50,000 off-marketplace members. They did have their passive renewal updated in the system for 1/1, but in the process of that update in the system, their plans were terminated. So that means that Availity was showing these people as canceled. So when we look at these people, what we know is we can go and we can pull a temporary ID card, and that's really what your first line of defense is can you pull that temp ID card? Now, what we've been able to do is we've been able to pull the temp ID card. We sent it to the member goes in for services, and then they are being told that they have no coverage. Well, that was identified on Monday. Today is Thursday. They took the last 2 days and really kind of worked through that. And those 50,000 members should be active, okay? They should have been active yesterday. They will continue to be activated today. And those were specifically off-marketplace plans, okay? There's other off-marketplace policies where the policyholder is not showing on the contract, but the dependents are. That was a much smaller of impacted members, but knowing that you have people, you have to go through the steps of what am I going to do to see if you're in place? What am I going to do to identify whether you've got a further issue that we need to work on? You know, when you get that call that comes into your office and says, hey, I haven't gotten my ID cards, I haven't gotten any communication from Florida Blue, what's going on? Well, the first thing that you should do is you ask them a question is, did you pay? Well, yeah, I gave you the money, I gave you the information when we did the application. I went through that with you. No, that's not what I'm saying, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Did the money actually come out of your account? And if they say yes, then you're going to want to go into Florida Blue, and everybody should really know how to do this. But if we go in and we go into log in, right, if we're going into agents, I was on the wrong screen, and we log in, you need to be able to look for a temporary ID card, and everybody should know how to do this at this point. It should be no big surprise. But when we get in here, hopefully if you can possibly log in, I might need another cup of coffee. And we come up into the top here and we go into account management, you can pull a temp ID card for anybody that you talk to. That temp ID card does not need to be just your specific client. So you can go in looking for social and date of birth, looking for name of date of birth, and looking for contract number. So the question becomes, I haven't gotten anything from Blue Cross, nothing at all. Do I have coverage? Well, let's take a look. First question, Mrs. Jones, did you have money come out of your account? Yes, I did. Great, let's look for a temp ID card. Now, if I can find a temp ID card, I know that that member is active. They've worked through the system, and that person should not have any issues. Now, if they are one of these off-marketplace plans, typically that's not the lion's share of our business, but the off-marketplace clientele may be affected by this update that will take about 24 to 48 hours to fix, and hopefully by today or Monday the latest, all of those contracts will be resolved. They may be resolved already today, but I haven't done any digging to check. So that's really your first bucket or your first line of attack. Now, what happens if the money has come out, but I can't get a temporary ID card? Well, if the money's come out, but there's no temp ID, then we have to identify when did the money come out. And if the money did come out of the account in the last couple of days, it probably just hasn't been updated in the system yet. And they should give that a little time, and you should ask the member to give it a little time. And if they have access to care issues, if there is a significant need for access to care in that situation, heart conditions, cancer treatment, diabetic supplies, things of that nature that are going to, life and death situations, of course, then you're going to have to follow the path of escalation with that. And unfortunately, that is a call to agent services. That is a report to agent services with a reference number that you have access to care issues. Now, when you report that access to care issues, because money has come out, that you have a completed application, you're going to report that access to care. Well, what happens if the money hasn't come out yet? Well, in that situation, you're going to want to go ahead and use the pathways that we've talked about to collect that premium. And now I know you're scratching your head and you said, well, Mark, I scheduled that to come out on the 31st and it still hasn't come out. Our guidance about 2 weeks ago was wait 7 days after that enrollment was completed and the money was supposed to come out, and then at that point you can reprocess a payment. Now you can reprocess that payment in several ways. If they have yet to make that payment, it has yet to come out. You can go out to the marketplace to make that payment, or they can wait for the bill depending on how deep their medical necessity goes. So those are really the two obvious ones. We've talked a little bit about these off-marketplace plans that are not showing up in the system in Availity. So therefore, they are having access to care issues, but that is going through a resolution. The next thing that has happened, unfortunately, is that there were many members that were enrolled, and they were enrolled on Marketplace. However, when Florida Blue processed the applications, they missed the indicator, or the government didn't send it. Who knows? I don't know where the blame lies, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter. That those individuals were not charged the correct premium. They were charged the unsubsidized premium. Now, that did not impact quite as many people as as thankfully. But when we're looking at that, we have people that have been charged a $700 premium when they should only have been charged $50 or $60. Now, with those people, those need to be reported to Agent Service Center. I'm going to give some additional guidance next week about that. If we get some information today, we'll make sure that we'll be sending that over to you, so that way you have some talking points. But what's going to happen is the finance department at Florida Blue is not looking to mail them back a check and having them wait 30 days. So you can rest your client's mind at ease that they are working through a process to return that money back into the account in a timely manner, so they don't have to wait for a check. Now, that is something that Blue Cross, I am pressing them to do. They need to do that because a lot of these people, they have taken their mortgage payments, they've taken their credit card payments, they're hurting their credit scores and things of that nature, and they understand that. And what we're doing with them is we're working them on a case-by-case basis, that if someone missed a mortgage payment, Florida Blue will write a letter to them, but that background of the letter and then other documentation and returned overdraft fees, that is going to be down the road in the next week or so. Right now, the pressure is on them to really make sure that they get that money back into these people's accounts, so that way they don't ruin their livelihood, making sure that there's food on the table. It's a nightmare, a little bit of a mess with that one, because along with that same drafting of full premiums instead of the APTC being applied, there was also a handful, not quite as many, people that were charged an active renewal as well as their passive renewal. So if they were a Florida Blue member before, they inadvertently charged them both the binder for the new policy as well as the draft. Now, those were a smaller segment of people. Now, when I say why is that a smaller segment, you're probably cursing at me right now. Okay, great. Well, these are all smaller segments. They all add up. Trust me, I don't feel good about it. But what the deal is that the marketplace had a file of approximately 60 to 70,000 members that, as you may have heard if you attended our call last week or the week before, 2 weeks ago, when we spoke about it, they didn't send it over in the traditional 834 file. So there's a whole bunch of people that were being manually worked, and it's a timing issue. So the active renewal had gone through. That person has that active renewal, but the active renewal was never communicated back to us from the marketplace. Therefore, this person has what appears to be two policies. Now, this happened about 2 years ago, and 2 years ago, this was a much bigger and broader spectrum problem, but it does seem to be much more isolated to this other 60, 70,000 people. So now we're talking about 100,000 contracts overall that have been affected or negatively impacted based on our conversation so far this morning. So again, doesn't make you feel all warm and fuzzy, does it? So the last bit of information that we got last night, which was a little bit mind-boggling, they are working through the resolution on this, is an additional 250,000 renewal policies that had gone through that were negatively impacted by the marketplace. Now, they have identified this documentation yesterday, and they are going to be making sure that they go through it and they give that information over to Florida Blue, they're rerunning the whole 834 file. They're rerunning the whole 834 file so that way they can get everybody in the correct plan. Now, why did this happen? It's really kind of deep, ugly, technical, whatever, and quite frankly, it doesn't really matter. But it really, what it's impacting anyone that did a plan change during 2016. So if I was enrolled on one plan and then I changed into another plan, those people are the ones that were impacted in this 250,000 people. Now, I don't know how many of them and how this is really going to be fixed. They said that they're going to have it fixed by today, possibly tomorrow. I would give them till at least tomorrow. So what does that mean? I mean, it just sounds like a friggin' nightmare overall. You're talking 300,000 people overall that have had issues or that have had problems. But we just need to make sure that we stand our ground. We make sure that we're comfortable, positive, and know that they're working through these. A lot of the situations that are coming up are communication problems between the marketplace and Florida Blue. Some of the problems is Florida Blue's interpretation of these files and getting people enrolled in the right plans. And then last but not least, it's a timing issue. The biggest issue that I can see, based on as long as I've been doing this and working with Florida Blue and working with the marketplace, it's all about the timing. Because what's happening is that they're regenerating bills, people are calling in, people are calling other agencies, agents are redoing applications for different effective dates, causing a, for lack of a better word, well, no, I can't even say that on here. It is just a problem. Because of the timing, the active renewals, the passive renewals, the customer taking action, the customer calling Blue Cross, what we have to do, if at all possible, is just ask our clients, as long as they don't have access to care issues, to just take a deep breath and just sit tight while we resolve this. I know it's not a great answer, but again, identify the people who need care in the best way because, you know, it's life or death situations. Report that to Agent Service Center, but keep your teams and keep your agents focused on continuing to write business. Because if you don't, and as we have these issues that play out, there is going to be policies. There are going to be policies that are going to end up going away. Because you have to understand a lot of the clientele that is in the marketplace. And a lot of the clientele that's in the marketplace is just looking to have their policy for 3 or 4 months and then terminate that policy anyway. I'm going to go get a surgery, I'm going to go get something done, and then I'm just going to terminate the policy anyway. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be the deciding factor on that, but you have to manage the expectations of your customers. And they have to understand your time. If you're spending all of your time doing customer service, and it's not that it's not the right thing to do, but you have to manage it appropriately. And the best way to manage it is with the serious issues and the access to care. So I really want everybody to know that Florida Blue, and I'm confident that they're working through everything. They know that they have to get this resolved, and really the resolution date is Friday, tomorrow. Because we cannot be in a situation where we miss the 15th through the 31st because we have to get these people written. They have to be active in the system, and I believe truly that Florida Blue will work through this. You know, the silver lining on this is that they are identifying the issues, they see the issues, and they understand that there is problems that we have to. It's not like they're an ostrich with their head in the sand thinking that everything is just going to fix itself. It's not. And they are working with all of the agencies. They're working with all internal parties, meeting 2 to 3 times a day to get these things fixed. But my advice is not to sit on hold with agent services for, 4 or 5 hours unless, of course, you have someone that's working with that inside your organization and making sure that they're going through it. They can stay on the phone. They can talk with the agent service rep, and you can keep the rest of your teams focused on new sales. I'm going to answer some questions that have come in here. A lot of them I think I've answered already. So if I've already answered it, I'm probably not going to answer it again. I may read through it just so that way we go. I have an assisted renewal that switched to My Blue from Blue Options. We paid the binder at the time of the application. Now they drafted the passive renewal for the old Blue Cross policy in January. So George, there could be a couple of reasons for that, as I discussed. The number one reason for that could be timing, depending on when that processing for the My Blue happened, and if that policy was processed correctly. Now, I'm not suggesting that you did anything wrong, so let's not take that in that capacity. One of the identifying factors that we spoke about is when you're doing a renewal, so this is specific to renewals, that I was and needed to find the 2017 application on the marketplace. Now, many of you did not do that. Not you, George, just in general. Now, when you had that situation of you created a new application or you started new, that is where that could be a problem. The second phase of George's example here, remember, switching from My Blue to Blue Options, and they drafted the passive renewal on the Blue Options. So we have a timing issue that depends on when you processed it. Also, we have an issue is that policy stuck in the 60,000 records that Blue Cross has to manually go through that did not come over as a switcher file? Because if it did not come over as a switcher, then in that capacity, they could end up with two policies. So that gives you an idea of the complexity on just that simple scenario that we would have to dig our heels into of what could be going on. Let's go to the next question. Hopefully that helps, George. A new client had two payments because auto pay was set up for 12/18. Client had overdraft fees. And again, that could be many issues that I just spoke about. I'm not going to get into that anymore. My off-marketplace plans still show canceled in search accounts. I'm not concerned about search accounts. I'm concerned about active coverage on the plan. The canceled in search accounts is not really a priority. It's making sure that they can go get care. You have to think about the lion's share of people that are off marketplace are, policies have high utilization of their policies. That means they're going to use it. And therefore, we got to get those people prioritized into getting them on. Okay? If they're canceled off marketplace, we understand that. That's how I started the call off today, and they are fixing it. When we have a client in one of these payment snafus, are you saying that we should not call and notify Blue Cross of the situation? Example, waiting and hoping Blue Cross is aware of the problem. No, they are aware of the problem, Kevin. What I'm saying is that you spending hours upon hours on the phone trying to resolve it, you're not going to get the resolution that you want. The answer you're probably going to get is they're going to tell you, oh, they're going to have to wait 30 to 45 days to get their check back. So if you want to call, I could tell you right now that's probably what you're going to hear. Oh, you're going to have to wait 30 to 45 days to get this resolved. That's not the answer that you want, is it, Kevin? It's not the answer that anybody wants. I have communications with leadership at Florida Blue that they say that they're working to get that money put back into the account and reverse it. And until the head of billing leaves today, and I have another conversation with finance later this afternoon, I wouldn't call. I would tell your customer that Florida Blue is working on it. I'll get you some timelines in the very near future, in the next couple of days. There's not much else you're going to do. You're not going to call Blue Cross and they're going to say, oh, fantastic, let me hit a button and get that money back into somebody's account. That's not going to happen. So let me manage your expectations. Why make that call? You already know what the answer is. I just told you. It's going to be 30 to 45 days before they get their check back. It's not the answer you want. Now, you can call, report it, get a reference number, because if someone can't pay their mortgage or someone is upside down that significantly, and then, of course, you'll have that reference number that it has been escalated. But right now, I would not take that time because you're talking an hour plus to get through to someone. They're going to spend an hour looking through it, and then they're going to give you the answer that I just gave you. I have a few customers. They insurance policy is coming up inactive. They saw the bank statement. It's out. I am able to get a temp ID card. Okay, we've already talked about this, so I guess I'll review it once again. If the customer has the money that has come out of the statement and you can get a temporary ID card, that temporary ID card matches the policy that you enrolled, they are stuck in that availability problem, which will be fixed in the next 24 hours if it's not fixed today. Okay? Next question, Florida Blue is taking more than what they were supposed to. Instead of 157, took 156. Why is that? I have no idea, but I would be very happy with a dollar difference rather than a $700 difference. If it is only a dollar or two different, and I don't know why, and that would not serve my time best spent in researching that. If that person who was supposed to get a $157 charge got a $700 charge, that would take my priority. I would tell them that I don't know, quite honestly, and then we can move forward from there. Good morning, Chuck. Here's a thought for Florida Blue. Maybe not have 14 different systems to show up. I would agree completely. One system would be so much easier. Yeah, that would be so much easier. So what do we take from all of this? I mean, when we look at everything that's going on, but I agree completely, Chuck. What are we doing? What are we going to do to move through this? Okay, we are going to have to go through the talking points of, did you pay yet? No, I did not. You should wait for the bill. I did pay. Let me check for a temporary ID card. Let me see if I can find you. If you can go through it, then get them the temporary ID card, and then they should just sit tight. You really need to focus your efforts on the access to care. Get somebody in your office to triage those calls, take those calls, find out what's going on, do some information gathering, and then do them all together. Do them later. Because if you spend your time going through call after call, you will spend your entire rest of January resolving the 10 or 15 cases that are giving you a headache when you have to remember you wrote 5,000. When you wrote as many as you did, you're going to have some issues. Now, again, it sounds good, but doesn't feel good, because if we wrote 30,000 or 40,000 policies, let's say, but I'm getting calls from 500 people, there are still, 20,000 plus members that are enrolled, that are working okay, that everything is fine. They're not calling you. But those 100 or 200 people that are calling are blowing your phone up, crying on the phone, screaming on the phone, telling you that you're the devil, and there's not much of anything that you could do about it. That's what we have to remember. Blue Cross has got to work through these issues. You calling and getting more frustrated and then taking that negativity out into the sales environment is not going to help you have a good rest of January. We've got to remember that. I know, listen, it sounds really good, but it don't feel good. But if you are going to make it happen for the rest of the year, we have to make sure that we stay positive, and these things will work themselves out. Prioritize. Bills, super bills that have overdrafted someone's account to the point where they can't live. Report it to agent services and escalate it. Get a reference number. We're going to be working through that. Hold that reference number. If they're going to tell you 30 to 45 days to get the money back, don't tell your customer that. Say that you're looking for a fast resolution for them. Don't tell people that, because if you do, then we need to make sure that we get it to them sooner. They can't wait. That is absolutely unacceptable for them to have to wait that long. We've got people who are getting bills in the mail, and they said that they paid, and the money is drafted from their account. With those people, oh my God, just check and see if there's a temp ID card. Maybe the money didn't really come out of their account. Have them check to make sure that the money came out of their account. If they got a bill in the mail, that's fantastic. You've got a contract number. You can check that contract number. You've just got to make sure that you understand there's a timing issue that is involved in here. There are communication problems that are coming from the marketplace, and all we have to do is move forward, stay positive, and make sure that we continue to do everything that we can in order to make things happen. So that being said, what can we write now? Are we out of business? The answer is absolutely not. You want to write everybody that you can for a 2/1 effective date. You want to make sure that anyone who had an auto-assign policy, you write them. Because, you know, there are so many messes that are going on here. We have people that were auto-assigned. We have people who haven't paid their bills. We have people that are in a situation, and I say pay their bill from another carrier. Write them for 2/1. You know, if you're in Broward County and you've got people that were auto-assigned to AM Better, those are all fair game for Florida Blue. You've got plenty of time to write those people. If they were auto-assigned to Molina in Miami, write them Florida Blue. Go for it. There is still a lot of business out there to be had. There are still a lot of people to talk to that we can work with, that we can find solutions for, and continue to write business. So we have to make sure that we stay positive, move through this. It will get better. It's just going to take them another few days. And then again, we'll have some additional communication for y'all as we get through today and tomorrow. And I can put a formal communication with Giggy out so that way you guys understand what's going on. So what other questions might you guys have before I let everybody go today? If a client had Humana and did nothing, can I still get them an SEP for 1/1? Absolutely not. 1/1 is gone. You can get them a 2/1 though. They will have Humana for 1/1, and then they will have your policy for 2/1. I signed up a client for electronic communications, changed their email after enrollment. Will they get a paper bill? I have no idea. They changed their email or you changed their email, they should check their old email. Otherwise, they should call or you should call and try and get their contract number at some point in time, but I would not do that today. Wait times are just completely unacceptable. Most of the contracts that I did or applications have problems with 2 policies issued. Bill, I know that you followed the correct pathway when doing your enrollments. I would chalk that up to a timing issue, because if you found the 2017 applications, you enrolled them off of that 2017 application, they should be enrolled properly. It's probably just a timing issue. If that is an off-marketplace plan, that is something that's a little bit more bothersome, and we'd have to take that offline to see what's going on with that. Excuse me. Let's see. Any other questions? So overall, everybody, let's stay positive. Stand by as we get some additional communication. Know that when you talk to your customers, manage their expectations positively, that things are working out. Identify significant access to care issues. Make sure that you report those significant issues to Agent Service Center with a reference number. Save those reference numbers. That way, if we need to escalate them further, but the CEO's office is taking care of those access to care issues. We're going to get through it. It's a couple of headaches in the way. We should have more and better communications in the next couple of days to be able to, get out to our membership and know that we will make this happen. We have to stay positive for our customers because, they can smell the blood in the water if you're worried. Absolutely, and you cannot do that and can't allow yourself to do that. All right? Perfect. Everybody have a great day today. You'll see a communication probably in the next 24 to 48 hours from GIG regarding these billing and best practices, and we will go from there. So I want to thank everybody for their efforts. I want to apologize for all the crap that we're going through. Know that we'll work through it. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's have a great January. We got a lot of exciting things to come, and have a great day, everybody. Thank you.